The Goddess Seals by Nikki Wardwell Sleath is a really lovely new book published by Azoth Press. You can see the subtitle here, Sacred Magical Symbols for Modern Magical Practitioners. And I'm really impressed with what I've seen here. Nikki's made a book really about seals. It happens to also contain magical workings with 13 identities of the goddess, 13 goddesses, you might say, from different pantheons that use seals that Nikki Wardwell Sleath has created, and that I'm going to need to remember the name. Let's see, Adam P. Forrest has reproduced in a digital form. So the original seals by Nikki are right here at the beginning in color plates. You can see exactly what they look like over here. And then, I've forgotten, Adam P. Forrest has recreated them in digital form, right? So this is the one to Hecate, which is the one that you can see on the cover over here. It's a really lovely one of the Morrigan, I guess, towards the beginning of the book. 13 goddesses. This is the one for the Morrigan. And you'll be able to see, actually, by studying these a little bit more closely, that Adam has slightly, I don't want to say changed, but modified, as if it didn't mean the same thing. But but yes, slightly changed the sigils just to be more aesthetically pleasing. So, for example, in this particular case, he's using a Latin script, whereas the original, you can see, used this Theban script. So he's taken the essence of what Nikki has created, and created a neater digital version of these. I think, just looking at the style here, I think this is the artist who has done something similar in the books by Daniel Harms. Those of you who know the book of Oberon and the book of Four Occultists, yes, not to be confused with the four books of occult philosophy, of the book of Four Occult Philosophers, I think that was the name of it. Anyway, this is very much in the same style, so it's not impossible that it's the same artist who has reworked these. So really well practiced in taking original seals, original magical representations, and digitizing them, just making them more accurate, more aesthetically pleasing, although just maybe aesthetically pleasing in a different way, you could say, right? So let's talk a little bit about the contents here. So it starts off with this wonderful preface where Nikki's really throwing us in the middle of this rather frantic situation she found herself in, where she used seal magic to get a friend out of a very worrying situation, involving life or death, in fact. So that was a fascinating place to start. And then the introduction, which is a long introduction, by the way. It does go on for about 40 pages. This introduction, which talks about seals and the difference between seals and sigils, and where it all comes from, and what grimoires have used seals, and what the author's experience with seals has been, and how the author has successfully used seals, and how she's what the author's magical practice is, and so on and so forth. couple of points here, maybe one point which happens to be a bit of a pet peeve of mine, where the author talks about goetic demons, and this is a common thing. And because the book isn't about spirits of the Ars Goetia, I certainly can't begrudge her not being an expert on absolutely everything, right? The things that this book is about, she is an expert on, and she deals with really, really nicely. So after this introduction, which is mostly really good quality stuff, which will give a nice basis for most beginner practitioners and also advanced practitioners interested in another practitioners' processes and ways of thinking about things. Really, really cool stuff. And then you get these 13 seals. So this is actually this is actually going into it already. I think this is the second one, the seal of Persephone. The first one was that seal of the Morrigan, and so you get the seal. It's come on, am I going to find the first page? Here you go. You get the seal itself, then you get a description of that particular identity of the divine feminine, right? So this particular goddess, and many different pantheons represented. I'll show you the table of contents in a moment. So you get a little bit of a description of the goddess, a little bit of background to that particular goddess, and then you get some work that you can directly do with the goddess. And so it outlines the offerings that are appropriate for that goddess. Then you get a suggested act of fearlessness magic, so a particular act of magic that's appropriate for the goddess that's being described. And then what the author is calling a path working. Well, it's a guided meditation, right? So in a lot of Kabbalistic magic, we talk about path working for guided meditations on the paths of the tree of life, which is why this word path working has kind of become synonymous with guided meditation. But yes, the meditations themselves are really, really nice. One thing that I wasn't a huge fan of in these guided meditations is that the guided meditation describes what the goddess says, and I feel like that's a missed opportunity to simply leave a space to say, well, now that you've approached the goddess, listen to what she's saying to you, right? Rather than, okay, the goddess says this to you. But given that this is a guided meditation, I don't think that it's inappropriate to have something like that. It's just my opinion. It certainly doesn't remove from the value and quality of what's here. The meditation itself, the guided story is really nice and appropriate for each goddess in a really nice way. So then, you get the same thing over and over for each of the 13 goddesses represented here, right? The offerings that are appropriate for that goddess, suggested act of rebirth magic for Persephone, right? Because rebirth is appropriate for Persephone. Then an incantation, there we go, and then the path working for Persephone, and then we move on to the next. Hecate, right? A really, really nice section on Hecate, by the way, for those of you who are fans. There we are. I told you that I'd show you the table of contents. So here is the table of contents. Right? You get the different sections of the introduction. Okay, and then you get the goddesses themselves. Okay. Get an idea there, and then of course there's a really nice conclusion, and then there's an appendix, because at the end of the introduction the author talks about planetary hours, and so at the very end here there's just a couple of pages talking about planetary hours and how to calculate them and how to work them out. My recommendation is just to do an internet search and let modern technology tell you what planetary hour it currently is where you are, because you nevertheless knowing how it's calculated is very, very cool. And then there's a little description about the author herself over here, and a description of the publisher, Azoth Press, being an imprint of Miskatonic books, or directly related to Miskatonic books. So yes, details on where you can get the book over in the description. I do want to point a little bit to the quality of the binding, which is really nice. I think, it's of the books that I show you guys, it's certainly in the top half. This is the standard edition. Okay, so it's one of 550. Yeah, here we go, 550 in a standard limited edition, and then there's a deluxe leather-bound Roman numeral edition, of which there are 30 copies. Right, there we go. That's really nice to see that being hand numbered. That's very, very cool. But I'd like to just talk about the quality, which is high. I think that given the price, this is absolutely appropriate. It corresponds to what I would expect to see for this price point. So you got the head and tail bands, and you have this really nice gold colored ribbon, which is it's a high quality gold ribbon. I'll show you the edge, which is cleanly cut. The book is Smith sewn. You can see the signatures, individual signatures there. There we go. A little bit of focus on there, and then on the cover. So the cover, let's see. The cover is actually very smooth. It looks like it might be textured. There we go. Oh yeah. It looks like it might be textured, and it's ever so slightly textured. But if I carry it to the light, it's actually just very matte and smooth, right? That's the actual texture is matte and quite smooth, right? It's not quite as smooth as this shiny part, right? There's this stamp which is ever so slightly embossed, very, very lightly embossed. Right, you can feel it if you run your thumb over it, and then in the center you have this sticker. Now you probably know that stickers aren't my favorite thing on the front of a book, but I think that in this case it works really well. It's a very beautiful sticker. It's not just a paper sticker. Look at that. They've metallized parts of it, and it looks really lovely. It looks really, really good. When I received my first thought was not, oh no, it's a sticker. My thought was, oh, how lovely. Actually, that was my first thought. So yeah, very, very cool. Very, very nice. And very appropriate to have the seal of Hecate on the front there. There we go. Those are my thoughts about the Goddess seals. And congratulations to Nikki Wardwell Sleath for this lovely edition, and congratulations to Azoth Press for making such a nice doing such a nice job of producing the book. There we go. Thanks ever so much for watching the video. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Take care. Bye.